In today's video, I spent 100 in-game days in Tears of the Kingdom and documented all of it. So let's get right into it. The game starts with Zelda and I exploring the caves under the castle, when Ganondorf awakens and separating us. Day 1 starts as I wake up from my slumber with a new arm. This is the longest day as it took some time before the day and night cycle officially starts. I make my way to the outside and push to the Sky Island below. I fight off an enemy construct and encounter a steward construct that gives me the Puro pad from Zelda. They also instruct me to head to the Temple of Time, so I head on that way and find a few Koroks. As I get to the temple, I meet Rauru, who tells me to visit the shrines to strengthen my new arm. I finish off the day by completing the first shrine that gives me ultrahand. Day 2 is spent trying to make it to the next shrine. Along the way, I hunt for some food, cook it, and clear some enemy camps. Finally building a sailboat to arrive to the next shrine that gives me the fuse ability. With the shrine completed, I walk out to start day 3, and I'm greeted by a steward construct that gives me the energy cells to power zonai devices. So I carry on and get killed by an enemy blowing me off the edge, resulting in my first death of the game. But I take them out on the second try, and get a sword from the chest. As I'm exploring a cave, I find a Bobo frog theme for the first time and get a Bobo gem. On the other side of the cave, I fight against a captain construct and end up dying. But I came back and beat him for the amber from the chest. I finished up the day by making another boat to cross the river. Day 4 I start by defeating an enemy camp of constructs pretty easily. Then I find this cave where I can collect zonai for the first time. I talk to a steward that explains to me how I can trade in zonai for zonai charges and crystallized charges. At the time I didn't really understand what they were exactly for, but essentially the crystallized charges can expand my battery, and the zonai charges are best used for getting zonai devices. As I travel out of there, I run into another steward that shows me how to exchange the charges for devices, so that's what I do. I finish up the day by helping this Korok get to his friend because he's just a little tired baby. Day 5 I start exploring the snow area of the Sky Island, and get a Korok, ambush a couple soldier constructs, and get demolished by another captain. Once I beat the captain, I enter the nearby cave, get a Bobo gem, and beat the gross foreskin monster. The like. After beating a second one, I exit the cave and attack a couple captain constructs. I couldn't finish them off from where I was, so I had to build something to climb up and destroy them. I just got an opal for that. I finish off the day by completing the shrine that gives me the ascend ability. On to day 6, and I start by finding the worm greaves. Then, I died multiple times trying to get the flying devices to work, but for the life of me, I could not understand how to get it started. Until I accidentally placed it on one of these rails and was able to get it going. I finally make it back to the Temple of Time and see Zelda again, who gives me the recall ability. I try to open the door, but I'm unable to get it until I can get another heart container. So I set off to find the last shrine in the area. But I get confused and die falling off the edge. Then I realize that I need to follow these gears and make it to the next shrine. With the last shrine done, I collect the Korok and head back to the Temple of Time. Get myself another heart and open the door. I am then able to connect with Zelda again and send over the Master Sword to her in the past. Next I'm able to jump off the Sky Island and land on the main Hyrule land. The first thing I do is learn how to duplicate items, so I make a few duplicates zonai until I'm attacked by a bokoblin and kill it. Day 7 I continue duping a few more zonai and then head off and fight off a bokoblin and moblin camp. I head to a construction site and try to make a cart, but then I get attacked by more bokoblin. Once I'm done with them, I continue building my cart with a fan, which works pretty well even though I have no control stick, until I accidentally destroy a couple parts of the cart, but it surprisingly works just fine with 3 wheels. I finally complete the Geosyn shrine, and when I finish that, I meet a couple people that tell me to head to Lookout Landing. So I head on that way in a new car I built and buy a hylian hood. Then I try to dupe rubies to sell, but I didn't realize that they explode when thrown and end up dying. So I just forget about that, buy the rest of the hylian outfit, and meet Pura, who tells me to look for Captain Hawes. Day 8, I start by getting these swords from the sky at Lookout Landing and head off. I fight a few bokoblins and then make another cart. I find this guy trying to hold up a sign, but at the time I didn't understand that I was supposed to help him and hold it up, so I just left. I end up finding the Kyononi shrine and completing it. Then I head up to the castle and find Captain Hawes. We see Zelda off in the distance and he tells me to tell Pura what we saw. Day 9 I head back to Lookout Landing and explain to Pura what happened. Then I try to duplicate more fans, but I just accidentally activated them all and made them useless. So I head to the Skyview tower just as Pura is activating it and get launched up to scan the map in the area around the tower. When I land back down, I meet and talk to Pan from the Lucky Clover Gazette. I go off exploring and find Hyrule for the first time while exploring this cave for Bobo gems. Not too far away I find the Ishidog shrine and complete it. On day 10, I notice this Hinox on the bridge and take it on. It was surprisingly easy to take out. Heading up the road a bit, I find this cave and fight off 2 likes in a Hyrule and get a Boba Gem. Afterwards, I make it to the new Serene stable and play with this adorable dog here. Then I finally complete the Sina Kawak shrine, take out my old Breath of the Wild horse Kelly, and explore the well behind the stable. I fast travel back to Lookout Landing to get a stamina container from the statue and talk to Joshua and Robbie to begin the camera work in the depths mission. So I head off to the nearest chasm and jump into the depths for the first time. After activating the nearest light route, I go and demolish an enemy camp and mine some zonai. I then attack another enemy camp but die to a fire arrow. Being extra careful, I defeat them the second time and meet Robbie. I end the day by following the statues to head to the next objective. At the beginning of day 11, I duplicate a few Keys eyeballs as they're super useful for killing off enemies at this stage in the game. I spend the rest of the day following the statues as I find more enemy camps, of frogs that I run away from, and an abandoned Yiga camp. Finally, I make it to the objective. On day 12, I clear out the 2 enemy camps near the objective and finally enter the great abandoned central mine. As I enter the mine, I meet these 2 researchers that talk about an ancient power to automatically build anything. After I activate it, I am given the auto-build ability from the story there. Then the researchers reveal themselves to be Yiga members, and I meet Master Kohga. He then challenges me to a battle and I beat him pretty easily. I receive a huge crystallized charge as a reward along with a schema stone and a large zonite from the chest above. I then buy as many crystallized and zonite charges as I can before heading off. After activating the next light route, I'm attacked by a Yiga member but they're beat fast. I then spend some more time duping more eyeballs. On day 13, I use a spring to jump to the top of this Yiga campsite and use eyeballs to take out the Yiga members, receiving a large crystallized charge and Yiga schematic from the chest. I then spent some time trying to familiarize myself with the building vehicles, but it didn't really work out so well since I was bad at it. So I just head off and explore with one of the vehicles, but it was kind of a big hassle trying to get around in it. Plus I got stuck in it when it flipped over as I got to the mining area, which was annoying. But anyway, I collected a bunch of zonai and a large crystallized charge from the chest. Day 14, I continued on what I was doing, collecting zonai and another large crystallized charge as I made my way through the depths till I reached the South Lome Depths Labyrinth, where I had the materials at hand to create a hover bike for myself, that I immediately crashed. Day 15 was much the same as I just kept following the statues. Then I made it to another light route and took out another enemy camp. On day 16, I finally reached the abandoned Gerudo mine, where I found Master Kohga again and battled him. This one was actually kind of hard for me at this point. I can hit him pretty easily at first, but once he put up the shield, I had nothing that could have hit him. And when I did hit him, he would recover before I had a chance to get to him. I even tried to use a hot air balloon, and that failed miserably. It wasn't until I fused the Lysophal's tail to my sword and hit him with a couple good bomb arrows that I was able to finally take him out. I got a huge crystallized charge, added batteries to my hoverbike auto build, and fast traveled to Crystal Refinery and finally added more battery wells to my battery. Day 17, I fly from the refinery all the way to the castle to look for weapons since there's supposed to be good stuff here, and make my way to the dock. I'm immediately attacked by the Gloom Hands, but I run away since I'm nowhere near powerful enough to take them on right now. So once I'm safe, I wait for them to go away and I can continue my search with the hoverbike. After firing a fire arrow at this wood pile, a chest appears containing the Hylian shield. I went to find the item that the Gloom Hands dropped and fast traveled out of there to a stable. There I cook up some good food and elixirs. Then I go and meet Impa and help her up on the hot air balloon to get a view of the geoglyph. I drop down and view the memory of when Zelda arrived in the past and meet Rauru and Sonia. I tell Impa what I saw, she tells me to meet her at the Forgotten Temple. Then I go to Lookout Landing and talk to Joshua and Robbie to complete the mission. I finish off the day by completing the Yamio Shrine. On day 18, I find a cherry blossom tree and offer food to be greeted by the spirits. Then I go and fight an enemy camp, but surprisingly, it turns into a stone talus. At this point, I wasn't prepared to fight it, but after some time, I take it down. Then it drops a stone talus heart, which I wish we can pick up for later, but we have to use it now to fuse to a weapon. Then I meet Mishi, who gives me directions to Misko's treasures in the area. I dupe a couple more items, attack an enemy camp, and fight a boss bokoblin for the first time. Surprisingly not that hard, but has a lot of HP for now. Then I finish off the day by helping a Korok find his buddy. Day 19 starts by looking for the caves that has Misko's treasures in it, and getting fucking killed by a stone talus once I'm inside. I take it down on the second try, and even though I look around, I don't see the treasure, so I head back out to find it. Instead, I find a Korok in a chest. So I head back inside and find it hidden behind some stones I broke this time. The treasure was the Barbarian armor, which was cool to get the attack bonus at this part of the game. Then as I was heading over to the shrine, I stopped the hoverbike to carefully sit back down, but I end up hitting the floor hard and dying as a result. But anyway, I head back over to that shrine and complete it. Day 20, I start by building this ugly ass vehicle to take this Korok to his friend, and then I attack this enemy camp, because they're in control of the area surrounding the Sky Tower. Overall, it wasn't hard, but there were so many that it took a bit of time. And once they were all dead, I accidentally blew myself up while ransacking the area. So I had to do it all over again and make sure to not blow myself up again. Finally, I was able to activate the Sky Tower and scan this part of the map. Once I land back down, I head over to the Tennis Shrine and complete it. I explored the Whistling Hill Cave, which was actually pretty big. I had to fight some electric keys, skeleton dudes, a couple likes, and at the end I found the rubber armor. Day 21, I burn a couple trees down for fun. I take a happy little Korok over to his friend, take down a monster camp, and get a sapphire. Then I finally complete the Kemi Zune Shrine. That gives me a 4th life blessing, so I head to Lookout Landing and get a stamina vessel. Then I head to the depths to buy some crystallized zonai and explore the Hylian Canyon mine and find the miner's trousers, which I really want to find the whole set as they're great for adventuring in the depths. And I spend the rest of the night exploring and collecting zonai. Day 22, I continue to explore and find this huge statue that tells me the location of their spirit or something, and I just realized that I never checked on that. Then I spend some time duping large zonai so that I can get the bigger crystallized charges and zonai charges. I finish the day by getting more battery rolls. Day 23, I go back to the depths and attack a Yuga camp. Nothing too special, just shoot them with arrows, get a schematic, and crystallized charges. Then I try to build cooler builds with cannons, but since I don't have construct heads, they would just shoot non-stop and waste all my battery. I land near some enemies, so I take a couple pictures to fill up my compendium, and attack an enemy base and barely survive with 1 heart. After collecting the loot, I head straight to a light route to get my hearts back and heal. At this point, I'm really trying to get more battery rolls, so I buy some more crystallized charges. Day 24 starts mostly the same, just exploring the depths and finding light routes. Then I stumble upon the floating coliseum and mark it for later, since I know I can't beat the 5 Lionels. I go to get more battery rolls and decide to look for the treasure I have marked on my map. The first one takes me to a cave that I already explored before and accidentally missed the climbing gear behind the waterfall. I end the day by fighting a bunch of monsters and getting this photo mid-battle. Day 25, I head straight to Lindor's Brow Skyview Tower and unlock that part of the map. From the Sky Tower, I land on Courage Island and start the skydiving trial that's there. Upon finishing the skydive, a shrine is unlocked. So I get some zonai devices and go to complete the Townhi Shrine, I think it's called. Once that's done, the steward tells me that I'll get a prize if I finish the skydive in under 35 seconds, which gives me the glass shirt. Then I try to beat the 20-second record, which I get after 2 attempts and get a large zonai charge. Day 26, I start by completing the Runa Kit Shrine, saving Kalisa from a bokoblin, and she rewards me with some food. Then I meet Junie, who gets scared and has all her plushies thrown out of her cart. So I help her get all her stuffed animals back, and she rewards me with 50 rupees. Then I finish off the day with the Kill Yu Shrine. Day 27, I try to hit a Hinox with some bombs, but it didn't really do much. So I had to defeat him the normal way. Then I was attacked by a bunch of choo-choos, and accidentally shocked my horse as I was killing the choo-choos. So I had to feed her some apples as a sorry. Then I'm able to make it to the Forgotten Temple and clear the enemies throughout it. I find the Mayausi Shrine, I think it's called, talk to Impa, and then complete the shrine. I then leave to get a stamina vessel and spend the rest of the night looking around Lookout Landing for the armor set. The passage hasn't opened up at this point of the game. Day 28 starts and I head back to the Forgotten Temple to investigate what's there. And I find this room showing the locations of all the tears of the dragon. Then I spent hella time just trying to help this man hold up this dumb sign. I head back to the new Serene stable and help out Zumi by rebuilding her cart and finding a new horse for her. I make some food for my next exploration into the depths and make my way down there through the Rowan Plain Well. Day 29. I attack this camp, and while I was doing well enough fighting them, I get surprise killed by Lusalfos throwing his spear at me, which I was not expecting at all. Second attempt, I beat them and loot the camp. Then I stumble upon another camp. I decide to throw Muddlebutt at them and just spend some time watching as they fight each other. Once I finish off the last one, I take some time to dupe a couple items and some large zonai to go buy more crystallized charges. Day 30, I continue on exploring the depths, destroying camps, mining zonai, killing a Stalnux, and dying a few times. Once I reached the Yuga camp, I duped some more eyeballs from my arrows and took the camp down. On day 31, I reached the Daphne's Canyon mine and tried to come up with creative ways to mine the huge deposits of zonite, but they pretty much all failed. I actually see my first Lino while exploring, but I immediately dipped since I have nothing to beat it, plus it's armored, so was not messing with that. I make it to the abandoned Karakura mine and find the miner's mask. Day 32, I went to buy more crystallized charges and got more battery rolls. That was pretty much the only important things to happen. Day 33 starts by finding and completing the Orokium Shrine in the Hebrew Mountain. Afterwards, I find the snowfield stable and see that there's a Gleeok off in the distance that I was not going to mess with at this point. So I go to explore the whale nearby and get some fairies that were down there. Then I go and see the fairy to upgrade my gear, but she still won't come out till I finish the side quest. So I head off and find the Dragon Tear memory of Ganondorf taking the secret stone from Sonia. Afterwards, I find the Oshozanu Shrine and I complete it. I finish off the day by taking Korok over to his friend. On day 34, I find the North Lome Labyrinth. I didn't understand how to go through them at this point, so I quickly got lost and tried getting to the top to get a better view. I get down to get this chest with a zonai bow in it, and build a ladder with all of the boulders there to reach a second chest that only had a zonai charge that wasn't worth the trouble. Eventually I make it to the Maya Otaki Shrine and activate the panel starting the North Lome Prophecy. Then I finish off the shrine and head out of the labyrinth. Day 35 I go and attach a towing harness to Kelly to see if I like using it. So I test it out with this Korok and it works really well. So I go and explore the Mount Draina foothill cave that was a few steps away. Inside I find and catch a few fairies and a bubble gem. Next, I go off and explore with Kelly and my horse, but since they can't really climb cliff sides, I unfortunately have to leave her behind to continue exploring on foot. Day 36 starts by building up this climbable bridge thing to get Korok up to this camp outside of the Pikita Stonegrove Skyview Tower. With that part of the map unlocked, I explore the East Hebra Sky Archipelago, get new zonai devices, and make it to this cool start looking Sky Island. But there wasn't anything I can do with it yet, so I head off to try and make it to the Sky Labyrinth. First I start by building this contraption to get some height and distance. Then I take a nice and easy stroll with the big floating thingamajig, until they start blinking and disappearing. So I panic and try to come up with something that'll save me, but I fail and float down. Then continuing on to day 37, I try to make another build to get me up there, but that also disappears before I can reach the labyrinth and fail. So I head my way over to the next Skyview Tower north of the Great Hyrule Fort. First I help a Korok up the mountain, unlock another Korok, and make it to the Typhlo ruined Skyview Tower. I talk to Bilson who tells me that the tower isn't working right now, so I have to head up to fix it myself. Once I make it to the top, I realize that I have nothing to make it move, so I get one step below and try to reach it with a rocket, but it takes me way too high. So I idiotically try another rocket facing down, and it sets me even further away. So I give up on that and paraglide closer, use hot air balloons to rise up slowly and move the obstruction out of the way. Finally, I'm able to unlock this portion of the map and fly up. On the morning of day 38, I land on the North Hyrule Sky Archipelago and explore around for a bit on the hover bike till I reach Bravery Island and take the skydive trial, which opens up the Seamos Seawalk trial that I end up losing the first time since the weapons they give us are so weak. But on the second attempt, I'm able to carefully take out all of the constructs and complete the shrine with just a quarter heart left. And speaking of hearts, I go and get another heart since I realize I'm still so low. Next I build a hover bike with some extra batteries to try to make it to the Sky Labyrinth again. This time I'm just able to make it. I complete the 10-bit shrine and spend the rest of the day getting through the labyrinth. On the morning of day 39, I finally complete the labyrinth and skydive all the way through to the depths from the openings to the North Lome Depths Labyrinth. So I pull out a flashlight to explore and find a Flux Construct 3 for the first time. Even though it was a strong enemy for this part of the game, I was kind of able to cheese it by staying up here since most of its attacks didn't seem to be able to hit me here. So after some time and a lot of arrows, I finally took it down, looted its body, and completed the North Lome Prophecy, which rewarded me with the Evil Spirit Greaves. Afterwards, I was able to get a ton of good weapons from the chest in here. And since I was down here in the depths, I decided to explore a bit and activate some light roots. Day 40 was largely spent exploring the depths, fighting enemy camps, and mining the Hebra Canyon mine. Nothing much else. Day 41, I clear out a Yiga camp, dupe more items, and buy crystallized charges. Seriously, I'm just trying to build up my batteries so hard at this point of the game. Next, I teleport to the North Hyrule to get this Tear of the Dragon. Then I travel around beating enemy camps to reach the Sikuku Shrine and complete it. I also try to see if I can just fly into the Korok Forest, but no luck. So I travel over to the Kikakin Shrine and complete that one as well. Day 42 starts by attacking and defeating the Stone Talus on my way to reaching the Woodland Stable. And just outside of the stable, I meet Kilton and Colton, who tells me to give them all of the bubble gems that I can find and rewards me with a Bokoblin mask. So I go off and explore the Pico Pond cave to get a bubble gem. Upon exiting the cave, I see Addison, And I saw a tip that if you use a hover stone, the sign will almost always just stay straight and easily complete these mini puzzles. Afterwards, I decide to end the night at the stable bed. Day 43, I go off to explore the surrounding area and complete the Ikochio Shrine. I think that's what it's called. I talk to the musicians as I know that their missions are the ones that help me unlock the Great Fairies. But I guess I have to talk to the Lucky Clover Gazette first. So I go and explore the woodland stable well and clear some enemy camps on my way up to the Eldin Canyon Skyview Tower, where I meet Sawson, who tells me that there is no way inside of the tower. So I fly up on a big piece of debris, land inside of the tower, and open the tower doors, allowing me to unlock this part of the map. Then I land on the South Eldin Sky archipelago. On the morning of day 44, I make my way through the archipelago, finding old maps to treasures, a sage's will, and defeating construct. Then I spend a few large charges to get a bunch of large rules that I really want to use for builds. I complete the Kadaunar Shrine and call it a night. Day 45, I hop off the Sky Island to reach the Kisinona Shrine and complete it. Then I stumble upon these two treasure hunters outside of the Cephla Lake Cave that tell me that I would need the nose of a dog to find some of Misko's treasures. So I give a ton of apples to the dog nearby, who shows me exactly which chest has the treasure. There was also this letter that showed me where to find the Fierce Deity set, so I went off to find that. But first, I gave a bunch of apples to these dogs so that they would lead me to treasure, but it ended up being a weak bow and didn't bother with the other ones. Then I finished the day by helping Addison in this Korok. Day 46 starts by exploring the Foothill Stable Well and meeting Farah, who will pay me to tell her about all of the wells that I explored, which is dope. Getting paid to do what I'm already doing? Hell yeah. But anyway, I make my way over to the ancient tree stump cave to find the Fierce Deity boots. The rest of the day was spent making my way over to the next location of the Fierce Deity set. Day 47, I make a hover bike to reach the top of these cliffs, and there I find a goddamn Thunder Gleeok. I get a little foolhardy and try to take it out, but I immediately die and use up a fairy. I try again, but I can't do any damage before almost getting killed again. So I just turn around and leave as fast as I can. I was still not ready to take on Gleeoks, unfortunately. I ended up floating over in the direction of the Uri Mountain Tower. So after taking out a couple enemies, I make it to the top and find Sawson again, who tells me that an arrow Kuda took the terminal. So I go and destroy it, return the terminal, and I'm able to unlock this part of the map. On the way down, I accidentally make my way over to Terrytown, thinking it was where the Fierce Deity treasure was. So I teleport away and fly over to the real spot, where I immediately have to hide from the glue pants that show up as soon as I arrive. Once they disappear, I search the area and eventually find the opening that leads me to the Fierce Deity armor under the ruins. I finish off the day by completing the Domizuin Shrine. Day 48 was just traveling over to the final piece of the set and defeating enemy camps, finding Koroks, and completing the Kamatuki Shrine along the way. Day 49, I'm finally able to climb up and enter the Skull Lake Cave. Inside, I have to beat a couple small fry along with a Stalnox. But finally I find the final piece of the set, the Fierce Deity Mask. So I make my way back to the treasure hunters, who give me a couple riddles to find more treasure for 100 rupees each. Not a bad deal in my opinion. I head back inside the cave and the giant door finally opens, and I find the Fierce Deity sword inside, completing the entire set, and I'm so goddamn happy about it. Afterwards, I make my way over to the Rising Island chain and complete the Mayo Meki Shrine. Now, this video is getting pretty long, so I'm going to end it here and show the rest part 2. So thank you for watching the video, and make sure to subscribe and watch out for the finale of 100 Days and Tears of the Kingdom.